The big story on India Ascends, tensions in the Middle East. As things stand right now, stage is set for a West versus Russia standoff in this region. Israel has already expanded the war into Lebanon. It is utilizing a very unique opportunity that exists before the American election on the 5th of November. Both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have backed Tel Aviv and will continue to do so. And while President Biden's call for restraint have been few, Israel is in a position to ignore them, given the leadership vacuum that exists in America right now. It's a short window, but it does exist. But that's just half of the story. Russia's interests in the region are just as deep. And Israel has always ensured it doesn't cross Putin's red lines. Russians were informed ahead of attacks on Iran and Syria in the past. And as Israel weakens Iran, it cuts into Russian interests. A weaker Iran is good news for America, but not for the Russians. Iran and Russia are not natural allies, but they've forged deeper ties in the last decade or so and really pushed the pedal since the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, where the Russian army has used a lot of Russian drones, Iranian drones, amongst other things. And as Putin met his Iranian counterpart, Masoud Pezeshkian, his calculus of the security framework could in fact change. Listen in first to the sound bites of Vladimir Putin and his Iranian counterpart. We come back and talk more.
отношения с Ираном носят для нас приоритет хороший.
همکاری‌های دو کشور برای ما یک اولویت است.
И они развиваются очень успешно.
هر حال اوضاع در منطقه بسیار بحرانیه و کشورهای اروپایی و آمریکایی دلشون نمیخواد منطقه آرام باشه تا بتونیم این ارتباطات رو در بستر آرامی با همدیگه ادامه بدیم.
Even as they confirm and reassure each other and the world that their bond is getting stronger, the theater of the war is now shifting. It's no more just Gaza, it's now Lebanon. Israel is going after not just people in Lebanon, but also UN peacekeeping forces. Listen into this report, take a look at this to tell how the theater of the conflict is now shifting. As tensions continue to simmer in the Middle East, the world is holding its breath. Will diplomacy prevail, or are we on the brink of disaster? A nuclear catastrophe? Netanyahu has issued an SOS to Lebanon. His chilling warning: there will be Gaza-like destruction. This as Iran-backed Hezbollah militants continue fighting Israeli soldiers on the front lines. But there's a wider conflict brewing, one which could significantly expand the theater of war and draw in both Russia and the US. Following Tehran's October 1st ballistic missile attack on Israel, precisely 180 of them Iran's oil facilities and nuclear sites are in Israel's crosshairs. Israeli retaliation could trigger a global diplomatic fallout and send oil prices through the roof. Tehran says any attack against its infrastructure will provoke an even stronger response. There have been rumors of a possible change in its nuclear policy. Moscow endorses Iranian version. It maintains Tehran's missile attack on Israel did not occur in a vacuum. As the world watches closely, the need for diplomacy has never been so pressing. All that one can hope for is cooler heads will prevail. So the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wants to alter the political map, but he also knows the red lines right now for the American government, which is that any attack on the Iranian oil fields will push up gas prices domestically, just weeks ahead of the election. So he knows that. So possibly a limited attack on military installations in Iran is more likely. But a stronger Russian support for Iran may also now be in the offing, and this could backfire for Israel. Russian military capabilities, even when it's stretched in Ukraine, can be a big bump up for the very obsolete or dated Iranian military capabilities. So that's the backdrop in which you can see a US versus Russia playing out in the Middle East. As far as India is concerned, more tensions is bad news. It's bad news for our plans for more connectivity in the resource-rich region. New Delhi's prosperity is very closely linked to the prosperity of the region. A better, integrated, peaceful region that is able to address the many fault lines that exist amongst it is good news for India, just like it's good news for the world.